So let me just start off this review similar to the last one in that I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think it was a fun episode. It was mainly just exposition and exploratory stuff, but it got the job done. So let me go ahead and get started with this. And also one thing I wanted to kind of throw out there really quickly is that last week I started the review saying I don't think the episode was as good as the previous one. I said that because the last episode was mainly just animation and fan service with the final flash. Like seriously, it doesn't mean that I didn't like the episode. People were like, oh, you don't like the episode, you're crazy, or you never have anything good to say. I'm not going to sit here and cherry code every episode. Oh my God, best episode this week. Oh my God, best episode this week. I had a similar mindset when Dragon Ball Super was new, if you check out my older reviews from the previous arcs. But nowadays, I'm looking at it more critical. I do enjoy this arc a lot. I think this is the best arc of Super, and I'll probably drop a discussion this week, actually, about something like that. But I want to just kind of start off by saying that. So let's jump into this episode in which, once again, not a lot happens. It's mainly just them explaining, or at least, I don't know if this is them concretely explaining what happened, or if this is Whis' hypothesis as to what happened, because it seems like a little bit of both. So basically, the beginning of the episode is where the last one left off, with Zamasu trying to get information about Goku and the Super Dragon Balls from Zuno. He does not kill Zuno. I didn't expect him to, because in the preview for this episode from the last episode, they showed it looking like he's gonna hack his head off with that sword blade. That's too gory for Dragon Ball Super. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't do like a preview, but I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think they'd kill off Zuno. Not to say that they wouldn't kill off Zuno, but at least not in that manner. So he didn't do it. He basically just threatened him, waving that sword around. So basically, he asked for information about the Super Dragon Balls. He was explained how to gather them, and he was explained that they take a year. I don't think they ever explained in this series that they have a year cool-off period. So there's that. So he basically would have to wait a year, which we get into a little bit later. He also asked about Goku, but basically at that point, it cut away from them. They didn't show what Zuno explained. So then we cut to Earth with Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks getting revived via Senzu beans. A lot of people pointed out that Goku went and got Senzu earlier, but he didn't use them in the future. It's because he went to go take a poo-poo. And forgot him. That boy went to go use the bathroom, and he was hacking out a tough one. So he was like, I'm gonna sit these down real quick. I gotta grip the sides of the toilet seat, and yeah, it's disgusting. But he totally forgot them in the bathroom. So obviously, Dragon Ball Super comedy again. They do this thing with Goku where they make him really, really derpy all the time. I think that's more or less a product about the way that the show is handled in their target audience, but none of that right now. That's another discussion I have to do. How smart is Goku? I've got a lot of stuff just backlogged, so forgive me on a side note if I get too into Dokkan. The game just doesn't stop, and I have such a big subscriber base that I kind of have to cover it, so it's like I don't have the opportunity, but I want to try to bring more discussions than I will. But anyways, they cut back to these guys. Goku forgot the Senzu, and at that point, they start explaining to Bulma about Super Saiyan Rose, whatever, and they explain how they lost and stuff like that. And you get a lot of funny little derpy moments from Goku here. And then at that point, Trunks walks out. He explains to Mai that the future version of her is alive, and she didn't want to come back to the past with them. Afterwards, Kaioshin, the Supreme Kai, and Beerus and Whis show up. And this is where we get into the crux of the episode, where basically, Kaioshin wants to tell Goku and crew that Zuno was harassed, basically, by Zamasu. So Zamasu has not done anything yet, but he is basically looking for information, formulating a plan. And at this point, Kaioshin explains, and then Vegeta's like, oh, we have something to tell you too. One thing I wanted to point out too is that Goku is obviously Goku. He wanted to go back to the future, and they're like, yeah, no, sorry, we can't do it. And he was like, oh, we can just become immortal too. And they're like, how would we do that? He was like, we could just go eat all we can eat Senzu beans, basically, something to that effect. And then I was like, this guy, I haven't seen a bowl full of Senzu since like Dragon Ball. But no, anyways. Vegeta and crew explain that Zamasu and Black are not the same person, and that Zamasu is in fact in the future stirring up the pot and causing mischief over there, and all these different variables that Beerus and Whis were not familiar with because they obviously didn't go to the future. So at this point, Whis basically hypothesizes based on the information provided. He explains that Zamasu starts to formulate a plan in that he goes to get all the Super Dragon Balls. That's another thing. He wanted to know where they were exactly at. Some people were wondering how he can gather them so fast versus Champa taking forever, like a decade, I believe they said. I'm assuming the reason why is that Zuno knows where they are and explains where they are, but obviously Champa didn't know about Zuno or didn't bother to ask Zuno. I think it's the former. He didn't know about him. So that's pretty much what this is implying. But anyways, they explain that he goes over there and he gets the Super Dragon Balls. He makes a wish, and obviously to speak in the tongue of the gods, which is basically backwards text backwards dialogue. But he asks for a servant, a puppet, if you will, of Goku's body. So he wanted a warrior in Goku's body, which is why he was asking about Goku. And this is how we get to Black. So Black is created from nothing, which is why he resembles Goku, because obviously the wish. And the only real mystery in regards to Black at this point, if Whis is correct, which I think he is, but they still kind of positioned it in a way that it sounded like it was a hypothesis, because obviously Whis wasn't there. He's just putting stuff together. So the only real mystery with him is how his ki is so similar to Zamasu's. Maybe Zamasu infuses his power within him or stuff like that, because obviously they have similar techniques, but he also still has Goku's techniques. So it's like weird how Black is formulated. But anyways, another thing is that they also say that he would have to then wait another year, gather the Dragon Balls again, and then wish himself to have immortality. And at that point, they're like, oh, well, we're pretty sure he's not that impatient, or he's not that patient. And then Beerus was like, well, no, with the time rings, he could just jump straight to the future. And they're like, well, he can't use the time rings. He's an apprentice, of course. If you saw a few episodes ago, 4 or 5 episodes ago, Gowasu had to give him an earring, which basically elevated him to Kaioshin status temporarily, to where he's allowed to use the earrings, or excuse me, the time ring. So with the time ring, he basically was able to jump to the future, and they said, well, he could just jump straight to a year from then and basically do everything all at once, basically, because the time would have passed, technically. So this guy is just getting more and more devious and mischievous and figuring out all these different avenues and plot holes to where he can just kind of, or loopholes, to where he can kind of just do different things and figure this all out. Another funny Goku moment happened in the middle of all this, where they were like, Goku was like, oh, he wished to become black or something like that. Make me black or something. I was like, wow. That could have just been like a bad subs, but I was like, man, they really are going to change this character's name. It just doesn't work. Black does not work in an English culture. So, and that was Goku actually being correct to a degree. Whis says, no, you're right. And that's funny because Goku had a moment of foresight, and he was smart for a second. And then immediately after that, Bulma was like, oh, what happened to all of that? Because Goku didn't understand where it was going after that. So at this point, they leave Goku, Beerus, I don't think Trunks shows up. Goku, Beerus, Whis, and Vegeta, I believe. Maybe not even Vegeta. Honestly, I don't recall who all went. Anyways, these guys go over to the Kaioshin realm, and Gowasu is there. Gowasu's been looking for Zamasu all day, by the way. Gowasu's there just basically chilling. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but he's just chilling, and they show up there. They start questioning him, and Goku lets it slip that Zamasu's basically causing trouble in the future. And Gowasu's like, I haven't seen him. And then Beerus was like, has he shown any signs of anything? And Gowasu explains that, hey, he's having issues. And you remember a few episodes ago when Zamasu was explaining this and the tea just basically cleared up? I said in that review that it seemed like his heart wasn't as, it was that he wasn't as unsure about what he wanted to do. So the tea seems to be misleading in a way that it's clear like you would expect it to be, but for the wrong reasons. It seems like it's clear because he now has motivation. He now knows 100% what must be done in his mind. And the tea is like, well, he's technically not evil. I mean, technically his motivations are valid, which is what makes him such an interesting character, because he really just wants to better the universe, or the world, as they call it in the show. But obviously he's going about it the wrong way, which is why he gets evil and he starts doing misdeeds and things like that. And obviously in the next episode, I'm not going to talk about it too much here, it seems like he probably poisons Gowasu, which is how he's going to die. And if you guys haven't seen the spoilers, I didn't really cover that here, but a lot of my YouTube friends have, like Dino and Geekdom. You guys go check them out for the next few episodes. But From there, Zamasu shows up and the episode ends with a smirk on his face. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Let me know what your favorite part of that episode was, whether or not you enjoyed it or if you didn't really too much care. Don't expect amazing, crazy fight scenes like the last episode had all the time, because it's simply not going to happen. Sometimes they have to take the time to sit back and just really explain. I'm pretty sure there's not an episode next week either. But nonetheless, we'll still be here with some awesome Dokkan, Dragon Ball, all these different things. But I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out, guys.